You're watching Euro Football Daily. Here are this week's biggest transfer headlines from across the continent. With around 6 weeks until the January window opened, clubs are lining up their targets, so if you've heard anything yourself, get discussing in the comments below. Anyway, let's get on with it. We begin this week's episode at Atletico Madrid, where the search for a creative midfielder could be over soon. That's because they are now in pole position to sign AC Milan star Hakan Calhanoglu, according to Mundo Deportivo. It's not the first time Atleti have been linked with the Turkish international. They first tried to sign him when he was making waves at Hamburg back in 2014, and again last year when Angel Correa was being linked with a move to the San Siro. Calhanoglu has been one of the Rossoneri's key men during their revival in the last 12 months, and with his contract running out next June, the club are apparently in talks with him over a new deal. However, nothing is yet signed, and Calhanoglu allegedly wants double the €3.5 million a year he is currently being offered. So there's a growing feeling that he could leave Milan next year, and while Man United, Inter and Juventus have also been linked with him, reports in Spain and Italy suggest Madrid is his most likely destination. And it's not hard to see why Diego Simeone would want him. The former Bayer Leverkusen man is making over 4 key passes a match this season, while João Felix, Atleti's top creator, is averaging 2.2. And due to his contract situation, Calhanoglu is now valued at less than €30 million. Whether Atleti will make a play for him in January or wait until the end of the season remains to be seen, but Milan fans will no doubt be hoping their club can agree a deal with him soon. Over to Bayern Munich now, as the European champions have been linked with 2 of the continent's most impressive young players this week. First up is Red Bull Salzburg prodigy Dominik Szoboszlai, who last week we revealed was looking most likely to move to either Arsenal or RB Leipzig, with the German outfit currently tipped to secure his services in January. The Hungarian international has started this season on fire, already hitting 2 goals in the Champions League, 5 assists in 6 league appearances, and sending Hungary through to next summer's Euros last week with a heroic last-minute winner against Iceland. Perhaps unsurprisingly, the 20-year-old is now being compared to the legendary Ferenc Puskás in his home country, and the continued links with elite European clubs is only putting further weight on his shoulders. And now, former Bayern Munich defender Lautaro Martinez has likened him to Kai Havertz, also suggesting that his former club are interested in the Liefering Academy graduate. In an interview with Münchner Abendzeitung, Matthäus, who now lives in the Hungarian capital of Budapest, said he could move to RB Leipzig in January, but I'm convinced that every top European club has him on the list, including FC Bayern. Meanwhile, Ralf Rangnick has suggested that Leipzig defender Dayot Upamecano would be a good option for the Bavarians too. According to the former RB boss, the highly coveted centre-back, who has been strongly linked with the likes of Man United and Liverpool, is ready to make the step up to the German champions, who currently face losing both Jerome Boateng and David Alaba at the end of the season. With his reported €42 million release clause coming into effect next June, there will be a number of clubs vying for his signature. If they're interested, Bayern will face a hefty amount of competition. It's no surprise that Manchester City are targeting a striker next summer, with Sergio Aguero's future still in doubt, and concerns over whether Gabriel Jesus can replace the legendary Argentinian in the long run. And according to online publication 90 Min, the names at the top of their list are Erling Haaland and Lautaro Martinez. Martinez is reportedly the more realistic option, with Barcelona's failure to raise necessary funds to sign the Inter Milan forward in the summer, leaving the door open for City to take advantage. Aguero is also a big fan of his fellow countryman and is apparently keen for the citizens to sign him. Furthermore, they would likely face more competition to sign Haaland, who is being linked with almost every top club in Europe, while his release clause doesn't come into effect until 2022. Don Balon have also claimed that City are looking at Wolves' number 9 Raul Jimenez, while other reports are linking the Premier League giants with a £75 million move for Jack Grealish. Somehow we can't see either of those happening, but Lautaro looks a genuine possibility, albeit one that almost certainly won't be concluded until the summer. According to Calcio Mercato, Inter will look to sign Andrea Belotti as his replacement. Before we move on to our headline story, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you never miss another EFD vid. We put content like this out every single day, so you really don't want to miss out. Trust me, you will not regret it. Anyway, let's move on. And it looks like Inter could also line up an incredibly out there move this winter, as according to Corriere dello Sport, Christian Eriksen could be on his way to Arsenal in exchange for Granit Xhaka. Eriksen has struggled to find his best form since signing for the Nerazzurri back in January, and has been in and out of the starting lineup this season, something the Danish star has publicly taken issue with. This has provoked a response from manager Antonio Conte, who this week stated, "The choices I make are for the good of Inter." Nevertheless, with 0 goal involvements to his name so far this term, it's clear Eriksen isn't working too well in the Italian system. And with Conte's number 1 defensive midfield target, N'Golo Conte, unavailable right now, Arsenal's Xhaka is apparently seen as a more affordable alternative, while Thomas Partey's excellent start to life at the Emirates has seen the 28-year-old left out by Mikel Arteta for the last 2 Premier League fixtures. And with the Gunners still in need of a creative midfielder, Eriksen could represent a cheaper option to Aouar or Szoboszlai, albeit a much older one. This seems like paper talk for now, but if both players continue to miss out on game time in the coming weeks, expect this story to stick around. The biggest story on the continent this week is that concerning the future of Real Madrid captain Sergio Ramos. The Spanish defender's contract at the Bernabeu expires next summer, and the player and club are at loggerheads over a new deal. Ramos apparently wants to stay and retire at Madrid, but feels he deserves at least a 2-year contract, with the Spanish champions generally only offering 1-year deals to players over the age of 30. There is reportedly a 1-year contract with an option for a further 12 months on the table, but that extra year is apparently subject to conditions and could be voided if Ramos was to suffer a major injury. So as it stands, the legendary centre-back is free to agree a pre-contract elsewhere from January, and PSG have emerged as the club most keen to take him on. According to AS, the French champions are willing to offer Ramos a 3-year deal at the Parc des Princes that would see him take home €20 million annually, a huge pay rise on the $12 million a year deal he currently enjoys in Spain. Although it was initially thought Ramos would discuss his Madrid future during Monday's press conference ahead of Spain's Nations League tie with Germany, the 34-year-old decided against doing so and had Rodri take his place. But there is a sense we will know more about his situation by the end of the week, even if PSG are said to be prioritising the futures of Neymar and Mbappé right now. But what would you do if you were Ramos? Stay in Madrid or go to Paris? Let us know in the comments. We finish up at Barcelona, who could bring in defensive reinforcements in the January window. According to Sports, the Blaugrana have retained an interest in Chelsea's Antonio Rudiger, who has yet to play a minute of Premier League football this season, and see him as a low-cost alternative to their top target, Manchester City's Eric Garcia. Other candidates listed in the report include Arsenal's Shkodran Mustafi and Liverpool's Joel Matip, although it's almost impossible the Reds will let go of the Cameroonian centre-back given their current injury crisis. However, with Barca facing an uncertain financial future, they will need to make significant sales if they want to invest in January, and Sports have also listed 4 players who could be offloaded in the winter window. Junior Firpo, who has been linked with Inter Milan and has barely featured this term, is almost certain to go, while Samuel Umtiti, who last made over 20 league appearances back in 2017-18, could also leave, although finding a suitor for the injury-prone defender is easier said than done. A loan move for the Frenchman, who remains on the sidelines, would likely be preferable. The 2 that make up the list are Matheus Fernandes, who only signed from Palmeiras in the summer but is yet to play under Ronald Koeman, and Martin Braithwaite, who was signed for €18 million last winter with a view to selling him on in the summer, a plan scuppered by the global pandemic. But do you think Barca can sell all 4 in a market still affected by the events of this year? And if so, how would you reinvest the money? Let us know down below. So that's all we have time for on this week's Euro Transfer Talk. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave it a like, and why not click on screen right now for another great EFD vid. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.